Jake Irvin posts another dominant outing for the Washington Nationals and wraps up a stellar May for this ball club. And I think it's time to start taking Jake Irvin a little bit more serious than what we thought. And how good can he be?
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And guys, while you're at it, again, search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your pods. Hit that subscriber button. Follow us on Twitter, whatever it may be. Just do that for me. Later on in the show, we will be discussing Game 3 of the Washington Nationals and the Atlanta Braves. We are knotted up at 1 game apiece in this 4-game set. But today, you have the ace on the bump, MacKenzie Gore. And of course, you also have a Braves debut coming today, which is 2021 second-round pick Spencer Schwellenbach, who has been a very good piece down in the Braves system. He is their number 3 prospect, according to MLB.com. We'll have that preview for you, what to expect with Spencer Schwellenbach. I believe that's how you say his name, but it's a tough name to say. It's 2021 second-round pick. We'll have that preview for you a little bit later on in today's show. Second segment, take a trip down to the minor leagues. We have 2 pitchers that we want to look at, 2 former big-time prospects, and really one of them is still, and actually, you know what? Both of them are still considered big-time prospects, in my opinion, in the system. One, maybe a little bit more marquee than the other, but there have been 2 different storylines to discuss with them, Andry Lara and Jarlin Susana. It's been an interesting year for both of them, but both have kind of gone in different directions. We'll have that discussion in the second segment, but we got to start off talking about this Braves game. The Nationals, again, they dropped game 2 of the series 2-0 after a gem from Jake Irvin. But today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors, and from brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive with all the parts you need at the price you want. It's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guarantee fit only available to U.S. customers. And guys, let's talk about it. Jake Irvin yet again, has wrapped up a very good month. And Jake Irvin is now, you got to have to take him serious. Not in the sense that, oh, this guy's going to be a 4 or 5 starter. Maybe. He still very well could be that. But I think at this point, it's time to talk about the ceiling of Jake Irvin. You've seen it now for pretty consistently over a year that this guy not only belongs in the starting rotation, but this is going to be a mainstay for the Nationals moving forward. Jake Irvin has been one of the most impressive guys this year. And really, if you talk about a starting rotation, all the guys in it, besides Patrick Corbin, have been very good so far this season. That has been the biggest surprise by far and away. You could talk about C.J. Abrams and kind of the breakout that he has been having, but even then, the biggest storyline this year has been the starting pitching, in my opinion. Patrick Corbin, he's on his own island. We know what to expect. You know. I know. We all know he's going to go out there, 4 to 5 innings pitched, 4 or 5 earned runs every single time. That's just what's going to happen with Patrick Corbin. But if you talk about the other guys, including what Jake Irvin did in last night's contest against a very good Braves lineup, this is kind of when you can start to feel a little giddy about this Nationals future. This is kind of when you can start to show a little bit more hope about this Nationals rotation moving forward. He got through 6 innings pitched yesterday, looked very, very good. And then, of course, the bullpen came in. Jacob Barnes blew the lead in the 7th inning. Now, with Jake Irvin, here's the thing about it. Jake Irvin actually has, in my opinion, one of the higher ceilings amongst these Nationals starting pitchers. I think MacKenzie Gore is a higher ceiling. Again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think MacKenzie Gore could be a Cy Young candidate someday. I truly do believe in that. And I think you start to see that as the season goes on. I think Jake Irvin, though, lines up in the second hole. That's where I think his ceiling is. Now, is that where he's going to produce? Is that where I expect him to be by the end of this year? Not necessarily, but I think that is kind of where these power rankings sit at. If you're talking about national starting pitchers and you just kind of put it in this way, as far as the Nats go so far, you could talk about Trevor Williams, even though I read something from MLB Trade Rumors yesterday that kind of has indicated, and I think we all kind of know this as well, that Trevor Williams, while he's been very good this year, there's also been a little bit of luck. There's been a lot of hard contact against him this year. So fortunately enough for him, it's just not finding the hole at this point. He's a 4-5 starter and a bullpen guy. That's what Trevor Williams is. We know that up to this point in his career. But the tippy top of Jake Irvin's ceiling is second to MacKenzie Gore. And it's above Josiah Gray at this point. I do believe in that. Josiah Gray, in this case, I think he could be a good 3-4 starter. And honestly, I think if you were to ask the Nationals, even behind the scenes, like, hey, what's the ideal scenario for Josiah Gray? I think if they were to say that Gray is a 3-4 starter and that is an ideal scenario and they would be happy the way that he develops in that case, I think they would be thrilled. But I also think if you were to ask them again behind the scenes, they probably think Jake Irvin has the higher potential. And I think people are starting to kind of wake up to that point right now. The way that Jake Irvin has pitched again, this month he has been dominant. Last night against the Braves, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks, and he lowered his ERA to a 3.43. Now, again, those numbers right then and there, wildly impressive. I don't care if you're going up against a Ronald Acuna Jr.-less Atlanta Braves team. It doesn't matter who you are going against. If you are putting up those numbers, 10 strikeouts over 6 innings pitched, only 2 hits, 2 walks, and again, you lower your ERA down to a 3.43 after having, a higher inflated ERA last year. But even then, we all knew that he was a lot better than what his ERA indicated, in my opinion, back in 2023. But this is the year that you're starting to see this breakout. And he's a little bit older. This is someone who has already had Tommy John surgery. He has recovered from it fully, obviously. And as we kind of get acclimated in the 2024 season, you see Davey Martinez kind of giving him a little bit of a longer leash as he went 6 innings pitched in yesterday's contest. Now, the numbers in May have been probably the best that he has put up in his major league career so far. It's a young major league career, just made his debut this time last year at this point. But his numbers in May have been incredible. He got rocked around against the Dodgers last month, and, it was kind of a, hey, you're playing the Dodgers. You're playing against Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and all the other pieces that they have. Freddie Freeman, who has killed the Nationals for years and years and years. But this month, since that start, he has got 5 starts, 29 1/3 innings pitched. Also in that time frame, only 21 hits, 8 earned runs, 28 strikeouts, 4 walks, only 3 home runs, and a 2.45 ERA and a 3.27 fielding independent pitching. Jake Irvin is starting to come into his own. The numbers don't lie here. This is someone who I believe has the second highest ceiling and, again, has jumped Josiah Gray. And this is not a knock on Josiah Gray for whatever reason. Josiah Gray is a good pitcher. He was an all-star last year, and he deserved to be an all-star. He was a good starting pitcher last year. But as we've seen this year, obviously, he's on the IL now, some elbow issues. He probably could be coming back here, hopefully soon. But Josiah Gray, at this point, I think he has been leapfrogged by Jake Irvin. And that's not a crazy thing to say. The proof is in the pudding with all the numbers here. Jake Irvin has had a better season than what Josiah Gray had early on. And I think even the stuff works just a little bit better. And also the demeanor with Jake Irvin. Something about when he is out there, there's like a trust factor with him. I trust Jake Irvin in big game situations in which he was a big game pitcher last night. If you are down in Atlanta for a young ball club, the way that this Nationals team is, and you're going up against a very good offensive team like the Atlanta Braves, you are going to have a bad performance every now and then. But last night, and again, without Ronald Acuna Jr., I understand that, he dominated. 10 strikeouts over 6 innings pitched. You're taking that every single day at this point. And if you're Davey Martinez, you have to have that leash a little bit longer. You've seen it with MacKenzie Gore now. I think Jake Irvin, you should start giving him that treatment because this guy is proving day in and day out now that he is a consistent, reliable starting pitcher that you can allow go 90 to 100 to even 105 pitches every now and then. You don't want to stretch him out too long because, again, this Nationals bullpen has had their very good moments so far in 2024. It's not the best bullpen ever. We all know that. But still, you do have some good pieces. You've got a lot of things to build on and a lot of things to work with. And that is the beauty of it, especially when you have a young starting staff the way that this team has. And now moving forward, when you have Cade Cavalli coming up, we have Josiah Gray coming back off the shelf, you're going to see a very good starting rotation in which none of us really expected so far in 2024. It's been one of the bigger surprises, and Jake Irvin has really kind of led that charge for what this Nationals rotation is and can be down the line. Jake Irvin, wildly impressive yet again. And again, looking at his May numbers to wrap up May, a 2.45 ERA in the month of May, 29 and a third innings pitched, only 21 hits, 8 earned runs, 28 strikeouts, and only 4 walks. Again, he is in top 10 for Major League Baseball in walks per 9. Jake Irvin, wildly impressive. University of Oklahoma product. You also had another one coming up with Cade Cavalli. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals there, and that is where you'll find your latest Nationals news and notes. And of course, we got to talk about some things down in the minors, as you all know. Andry Lara, you know the name, but do you know the story? I'll tell you that. And also Jarlin Susana, you know the name, but there's been a different story so far in 2024. We'll have that discussion for you after we tell you guys about our friends over at eBay Motors. And guys, passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance: superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, guys, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And these Nationals, they're scrappy, but we got to look down at the minor leagues every now and then. The number 10 prospect in this national system, according to MLB.com, Jarlin Susana, and of course the number 30 prospect, Andry Lara. These are two very similar cases, in my opinion. And if you aren't too deep in the weeds of the MLB prospects, let me catch you up. You may have heard of Jarlin Susana at this point, someone who can throw up to 102 miles per hour. Huge, one of the big arms the Nationals got in that Juan Soto trade just a handful of years ago. He is a young prospect, just turned 20 years old, and he has struggled mightily so far this season. Also, on the other hand, Andry Lara, one of the big international pitching prospects back in 2019, the Nationals spent a ton of money on, I believe right around $1.9 million signing bonus, which is pretty damn good for someone who is of his caliber, but 6'4", pretty big kid, and he can throw some gas here and there. But Andry Lara struggled throughout his career. This year, and really even back to last year in August, he has turned his ship around real quick, real fast. And Jarlin Susana, someone who was a more promising prospect, in my opinion, has kind of not been all too great this year. Let's start out with the positive, though, with Andry Lara. Andry Lara, again, a big international signing prospect, someone who made his debut back in 2021 for this team. And Andry Lara that year was really not all that impressive. But now, as he's kind of acclimated, and again, we talked about this, his turnaround last year in the second half of the season post the All-Star break was kind of when you started to take notice a little bit. And for some reason, whatever it is, guys who come over, pitching prospects in particular, it takes a little bit longer for international prospects to develop as far as pitchers go. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but a lot of MLB writers and minor league writers have talked about this for years and years and years now. And I think Andry Lara could be one of those cases. He was one of the Nationals' top prospects just about 2 years ago when the Nationals had nothing. I believe he was up to a top 5 prospect in the system, in which, he's a good pitcher, but he probably shouldn't be all the way up there. But so far this season, he's starting to earn that status a little bit more. And I think MLB pundits and MILB pundits, they'll all kind of start to recognize what Andry Lara is doing because he has improved his stats overall in a huge manner. He started this year at Wilmington, just one game, got the bump up real quick to AA, and so far this season, across 8 starts, he's got a 2.3 ERA and 43 innings pitched, 30 hits allowed, 4 home runs, 52 strikeouts, and 14 walks while allowing a 195 batting average. And also, something that is very important to me, he's got a 102 whip on the 2024 season. This is not just across single A. This is now up into AA Harrisburg, which he is doing very well at right now. Again, a sub 200 batting average against, a 102 whip on the season, walking less guys, getting more strikeouts, and he hasn't really been striking out guys at this rate in quite some time, really probably since his rookie season down in rookie ball. And even then, back in 2022, he did have some strikeouts, but in 23 starts, he had a 5.5 ERA. But this year, as a 21-year-old, again, just recently turned 21 years old, Andry Lara is starting to come into his own. Is this part of the Nationals' new player development system? Potentially. But also, I think that this is probably the product that you will be seeing now moving forward. He is going to be on people's radars. You are going to see, once MLB.com kind of updates their files and kind of distributes their prospect rankings, you're going to see Andry Lara fly back up this board. Because again, this was someone who was a big-time prospect, who was a top international pitching prospect just back in 2019 and 2020. This is going to be someone that the Nationals are holding in a prize honor. You're starting to see him kind of glow up, as the kids would say, in so far in 2024. And even then, dating back to last year, something just clicked. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he started pitching really well in high A Wilmington. And again, that is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, so you can kind of excuse that away. But now he's in AA, and he's doing the same damn thing. He's getting strikeouts. He's going deeper into ball games. He's not allowing hits. He's not allowing base runners. He's not walking guys at the rate that he once was just a few seasons ago. And it's all starting to click and make sense for the kid. Because again, a 1.45 whip back in 2022 compared to a 1.02 whip in 2024. The number one reason behind that is, number one, his fastball is not getting hit at the rate that it once was. And number two, he's not walking guys at the rate that he once was as well. And he's starting to get more strikeouts and more swings and misses. And that is why he's got 52 strikeouts in 43 innings pitched this year. He was kind of one of those guys where you thought about it and you're like, is he going to be a real prospect or not? So far, Andry Lara should be back in your radar. And I would not be surprised to see this guy in AAA maybe sometime this summer the way that he has been pitching. Now let's talk about Jarlin Susana, someone who is a little bit more well-known, but again, a little bit of a different story. Kind of the similar situation with Andry Lara, a big-time international signing prospect. When the Nationals traded for Jarlin Susana, I was wildly excited for him. But so far this season, in 8 starts, everybody, he's got an 8.89 ERA. 26 innings pitched, 34 hits, 34 strikeouts, which is really good, obviously. But batters are batting .312 against him. He's got a 201 whip on the season. 19 walks in those 26 and a third innings pitched. And not going to lie, going into last year, I was expecting Jarlin Susana to be just take the league by storm. I thought he was going to be one of those guys where Not the Paul Skeens type trade, obviously, but I thought he was going to be a big deal for this team, striking out a ton of guys as he did in rookie ball with the San Diego Padres when he struck out 66 guys in 45 innings pitched with a 2.4 ERA back in 2022 when the Nationals first originally traded for him. But now you're starting to see in this scenario, am I ready to give up on him? No, because Andry Lara never had these bad of numbers. But again, I think a lot of pundits around the league, and we've all kind of known this, if you follow prospects, you know who's been saying this, and you know probably who I've been reading, guys like J.J. Cooper, Keith Law. These big-time Dominican international signing prospects take a little bit longer to develop. These are young kids. This is a 20-year-old still who, again, just turned 20 here recently. Jarlin Susana should not be given up on as a starting pitcher. But I think the best fallback option for him is to be a closing pitcher. Because again, you look around the league, guys who throw 102 miles per hour with nasty breaking pitches, with great sliders the way that Susana does, it kind of screams he's going to be a closing pitcher. But I'm not ready to give up on that just yet. Again, 34 hits, 26 and a third innings pitched. That's not good right then and there, especially for someone who has a 101 mile per hour fastball back in his back pocket. You have to think something is going wrong with them. Again, allowing all these hits, allowing all these walks as well, something's not right. Now, can the Nationals fix it? If this was the farm system from 2 years ago, I'd probably say hell no. Get him in the bullpen, and let's start seeing what he can do as a closer. But at this point, the way that the Nationals have been developing pitching over the last year, you see Mitchell Parker come up, you see Jake Irvin come up, you've seen different guys come up from the bullpen. Whatever it is, the Nationals pitching staff in their development recently has taken a turn for the better. So I want to see what the Nationals can do and get their hands back on Susana, but he's taking steps back right now. And when you talk about that, again, he's only 20 years old, but that is a concerning factor in this equation here. If you're taking a step back when you're in the same level as last year, which you weren't really all too great in single-A Fredericksburg as well, but you're taking big step backs right now. Something's got to give. Something will have to happen. Something will have to be fixed. I don't know what that is. I haven't been able to see him for myself, but we can discuss that at a later date with what has gone wrong with Jarlin Susana, but still a big-time prospect. You still should be excited for him. It's way too early to give up on him just yet. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Now, let's talk about Game 3 of this Braves-Nats series. But before that, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. And guys, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel gives you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. And guys, as you saw in yesterday's contest, the Timberwolves have made it sort of a series with the probably not defending champs, but the Dallas Mavericks, a very good ball club led by Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. I can tell you this right now. I'm taking the T-Wolves in Game 5. They just won 3-1. And of course, you got to get it in today because you can have $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and much more. And all you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, that is America's #1 sportsbook. Again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, check us out over on YouTube. Just search up Locked On Nationals, and that is where you'll find us for your latest Nationals coverage. Let's talk about this because the Braves have promoted a top 3 prospect in their system. And as we know, the Braves, one thing that they do great is develop right-handed pitching. They have called up Spencer Schwellenbach for tonight's game against the Nationals. It was kind of left out as we didn't really know what was going to be happening, but now we know that the Braves, they got their guy. He's going up against MacKenzie Gore, though. Good luck, man. 23 years old, 2021 second-round pick. And again, this is going to be someone who I think will be a very intriguing option for the Braves. I'm not saying this guy's going to come up and dominate, but so far, he has been wildly impressive. And this is someone who hasn't even pitched at AAA yet. He just got the call up from AA Mississippi as he had 2 starts under his belt where he struck out 17 batters and 13 innings pitched, only had 1 walk. And that has really been his most impressive part for the Braves so far. He has been a very good pitcher, someone who's going to strike out a lot of different guys, but also not walk really many guys. So far since 2021, or really since last year in 2022, he has a whip of 0.95. That's pretty damn good across 2 seasons. This is someone who I think the Braves are very high on. I remember when he was selected, all the pundits were saying that this is going to be someone who kind of could be that surprise guy, make their way up through the system, and he's made his way up pretty damn quick. Now, is he going to come up and have some Spencer Strider type of rise? I don't believe that's the case at all. But 23 years old, 6'1", 200 pounds, he kind of fits that prototypical Atlanta Braves pitcher. So someone who throws a fastball, a slider, a curveball, and a changeup, has pretty solid control. This is going to be a intriguing matchup for MacKenzie Gore. Now, good for the Nationals and for the Nats and their fans. You got MacKenzie Gore on the bump, and that is a bad thing if you're an Atlanta Brave. Now, you see all the guys in the lineup right now for the Braves. You have Ozzie Albies who can attack you from the right side of the plate. You have Austin Riley who can attack you from the right side of the plate as well. On the other hand, you have Matt Olson, who is still good, but I think MacKenzie Gore couldn't take advantage of that matchup right then and there. I want the Nats to win this game. It's not just because it's the Braves, but when you have MacKenzie Gore out there and when you lose the way that you did in yesterday's contest and you have 7 hits, more hits than the Braves in yesterday's game, and you still lose that game and can't get runners in scoring position and then maneuver those guys to the home base, that is a frustrating loss. Now, going up against a rookie pitcher, 23 years old, and again, just turned, or really going to be turning 24 years old just in 2 days from now, you want to see this guy and you want to take advantage of him. He's a rookie. The Nationals, their offense has been wildly inconsistent. But now, the time is now. Take advantage of this rookie, smack him around a little bit, have MacKenzie Gore go 7 innings pitch, bring in Hunter Harvey, bring in Kyle Finnegan, close the door, and let's go for a 3-game win series in tomorrow's matchup against the Braves. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And enjoy tonight's game as Spencer Schwellenbach makes his debut against MacKenzie Gore and the Nats. You got to love it. I'll catch you on the flip side. Enjoy tonight's game. Have a good one.